Did Japan stop celebrating Lunar New Year to reject Chinese influence? Short answer, no. Long answer, it was modernization. Japan adopted the East Asian lunisolar calendar around the 6th century during a period of cultural exchange with the continent. For over 1,000 years, Japan observed Lunar New Year, known as Kyushokatsu, meaning Old New Year. But in 1873, during the Meiji Restoration, Japan officially adopted the Gregorian calendar. Why? Because Japan was rapidly modernizing. The Meiji government aimed to industrialize, strengthen the economy, reform state systems, align administrative practices with Western powers. Switching to the Gregorian calendar simplified trade, taxation, diplomacy, and government operations. So, this was primarily a structural reform, not a cultural rejection. Today, Japan celebrates New Year on January 1st, known as Oshokatsu. Even after the official switch, some rural communities in Japan continue observing the lunisolar calendar traditions quietly. Beyond East Asia, similar New Year celebrations spread to parts of Southeast Asia through Chinese migrant communities over centuries. In countries like Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia, Chinese communities continue observing their New Year traditions. They brought practices such as ancestor remembrance, family reunion meals, lion and dragon dances. Over time, local cultures influenced the celebrations too, creating regional variations that reflect both historical roots and Southeast Asian identity. This shows the festival didn't stay in one place, it adapted. So, when we look across the region, China called it Spring Festival, Korea called it Solal, Vietnam called it Tet, Japan called it Kyushokatsu historically, now Oshokatsu on January 1st. Southeast Asia called it Chinese New Year, observed through Chinese diaspora communities. Shared calendar system, distinct cultural expressions. Each society reshaped the celebration to reflect its own history. In English-speaking countries, this celebration first became widely visible through Chinese immigrant communities. So the term that became commonly used was Chinese New Year, because that was the community most people encounter celebrating it. When we look at historical records, we see the lunisolar calendar system developed in ancient China. Over centuries, neighboring societies adopted and adapted it. And today, each country expresses their celebration through its own culture. History is layered, and culture spreads in complex ways. Now, I'm not here to tell anyone what to call it. Different terms develop in different contexts. Understanding that history allows us to use language with more awareness. I still say Chinese New Year in my own cultural context, but when greeting friends from Korea, Vietnam, or other part of the globe, I understand why different terms are used. Understanding history doesn't threaten identity, it adds context. In the next video, I'll talk about how the English term Lunar New Year developed and why language evolves differently from tradition.